What's up, bike enthusiasts? Bike Guy Alex here, and today we're going to start a brand new bike project. So, I've had this bike sitting in my shed for probably 4 months now, and it's definitely time to do something with it. So, I picked up this bike off of Facebook Marketplace for about $40 because of the triple triangle frame. The fact that it looks like a GT was really cool to me. Now, I haven't been able to find out anything else about this frame other than what decals and things are currently on it. So it is 4130 chromoly steel, which means that it has a super solid base to it, which is going to be great for this project. So today I'm starting to undertake a huge project of doing a completely custom bike, and we're going to start with my design process. I've built this bike up in a couple of ways so far, and I've never been completely happy with it. And I think a lot of that has stemmed from the frame color itself. So, undertaking a completely custom bike, the first thing is a custom paint job. So when thinking about colors for this custom paint job, if you know me, and if you've been following my channel recently, you'll know that I love the color purple, especially on bikes. I am just crazy about a good purple bike. So, with that being said, purple by itself, that's kind of boring. I'm doing a completely custom bike. I want to make it interesting. And so, looking around on the internet at other custom paint jobs, I gained a lot of inspiration from this custom paint job on this Surly that I saw via the Blue Lug Instagram. So shout out Blue Lug for these images. This is a gorgeous custom paint job, and I gained a lot of inspiration for what I want to do with my custom paint job because of these images. So I don't want to do something completely copying this Surly, but it gave me a lot of ideas. So with colorway in mind, I really liked the orange and purple that was used on this Surly, and so I'm going to do something similar and do an orange and purple colorway. Now my idea is that I do a base coat of orange, so I'm going to cover the complete frame with this orange color, and then I'm going to come on top and do a sort of splatter with the purple colorway so that the orange kind of peeks through behind this gorgeous purple color. Hopefully it will come out really good and my vision will come to fruition. But that's the idea, and that's where we sit now, as this is still the design phase of this custom bike. I have no idea how this is going to turn out. I have ideas and ways that I think I can make it work, but not having done it yet, we'll wait and see if this actually comes out the way that I want it to. But that's the idea for now. Orange base coat, purple splatters over the orange. I think it's going to look amazing. And yeah, that's where we're heading with the colors. Now, we are not just stopping with a completely custom paint job. I also want to redesign the logos on this bike because as it currently sits, it's pretty boring. If I can refresh your memory from my earlier shots of just the frame, the Intimidator logo itself is pretty boring. And then we even look at that head badge logo, and that is one of the worst design logos I've ever seen. So, to completely overhaul this bike, I'm also going to redesign the logos on it. So for redesigning the logos themselves, I looked to some early 2000s surf magazines and this WWE magazine that I had to find some inspiration on some different fonts and styles that I could potentially use. So, going through these magazines, I found some fonts that really stuck out to me as really cool, and then I took to my sketchbook to sketch them up. With the bike's name being Intimidator, I wanted to either play into that and use a really intimidating, sort of scary letters and font, or I wanted to go the complete opposite way and have a nice bubbly, innocent feel to it, and kind of play on the fact that Intimidator in a bubbly, fun font is kind of funny. So, with some great ideas down on paper, I took my talents to Procreate to refine these ideas and start to get a sense of how these fonts would look on the bike itself. So, one of my first fonts that I took into Procreate was a much more spiky, intimidating, scary font, going down that route of playing into the name of Intimidator. And as I refined this font and framed it up on the frame itself, I realized that I didn't really like the route that this was going, and that it wasn't going to work with the colors, and overall I just didn't like the font. But it was a really good process to take it into Procreate, refine it, and realize that this wasn't the font that I wanted to use. The next font that I took in there was one of the more bubbly, fun fonts. And what I noticed right away was I hadn't really changed the font too much from what was already on the frame. And although I did like this font, it wasn't giving off that change that I was going for with this completely custom bike. So I started to then play around with how the letters interacted with each other and how they were positioned on the frame. And this is when I fell in love with this font and this redesign. It gave this Intimidator that super playful logo that really played into that opposite of what its name was, Intimidator. It was so playful and fun and cutesy, and I really think that it worked fantastic with the colors that I was going for. And so this is the font and the redesign that I'm going to go for and actually put on this bike. So as you can see me here in Procreate, I'm sampling the colors of the spray paints that I bought from Spray Bike to help work out how the colors are going to work with this redesigned logo and how I want this redesigned logo to come across on the bike. At first, I started off with the idea of having the logo be that orange undertone color, and working through this process, I realized that that wasn't really what I wanted, and that I don't think it would read as well. So I'm going to go with the Intimidator logo to be in that polished steel color that I'm going to reveal when I strip all of the paint off of this bike. So fingers crossed everything works out great, and that when I actually go to spray this bike, that the Intimidator logo will be a natural steel color. So as for the head badge or signet logo on the front of the bike, it needed a complete overhaul. It was absolutely terrible and just needed something completely different. I wanted to take this in a much more artistic way. And in doing so, I thought having an actual image drawing on the front of the bike would be really cool. Again, playing into that Intimidator side of things, I thought, Godzilla would be really cool. I thought of other animals and creatures that kind of give off that Intimidator factor that I thought would be really cool. And I've always really enjoyed American traditional tattoos, and that style kind of gives a very playful side to these images. And so with that kind of playful tone that comes across with American traditional tattoos, I thought, let me look at some American traditional Godzillas and use those as inspiration and references to draw my own with my own human errors, and come up with something that I can put on the front of this bike. So I sketched up this American traditional style Godzilla, using some references that I saw via Pinterest and Instagram and things like that, and took it into Procreate to start the design process of what that head badge signet logo would turn out to be. Understanding that I really only have 3 to 4 different colors that I can work with for this design, it was really important with me to figure out some way that I could create some contrast so that this actual image of the Godzilla could pop off the bike and be visible on the bike. And so I thought creating some sort of moon behind the Godzilla would add some great contrast, and I could bring through that bare steel color again, to create some good contrast to everything else that's going on. The other thing that I'm planning on doing is having that laser beam come out of his mouth, by spraying that sharp orange color to be that laser beam, and have it kind of just fade off at the end with that natural spray that will happen. So hopefully that looks good, and hopefully this all comes together, because to get this on the bike, I'm planning on just freehanding it with one of those spray bike paint markers. So hopefully I can get it onto the bike, and hopefully I can get it onto the bike to where it looks really good. The other concern that came up when doing this design was, is the purple going to be too close of a color to that black, where this image will not actually stand out on the bike? This is only a question that we will be able to answer in next episode, when we actually strip the bike down to that bare metal color and take these designs that I've created here and put them onto the bike. So we won't know if any of this will work until next episode. So everybody stay tuned for next weekend's episode, where we actually take these designs and put them on the bike. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this process of getting inside my head to do this redesign on this really unique frame that, I have no idea where it came from, but I'm stoked that I have the opportunity to do something interesting with it.